Hey everybody, nice seeing y'all today. To those who watch this whenever they watch it, or whatever. Anyway, been busy today, but I voted. Now, I'm not sure how much weight my vote actually holds, but it's the principle of it. As I said previously, this year there's, I believe, a significant amount of change that's afoot, and I believe in trying to at least be a part of that change. So I decided to use my voice to vote. Now, so voting, yeah, they say it's just citizens' responsibility, but more than that, voting is something that I think you should do as a matter of principle, not not because it counts for something, but that it matters to you. The real power comes through exercising the rights that we all have to affect whatever change that we desire or that we want. It's the first step in being politically active and being aware, and that's what I'm taking my vote as. So that doesn't mean that because I vote that my responsibility to my life, my own freedom, I basically say, okay, that's it. I voted. That's all that matters. It means that you become involved and you become more aware of what's going on and how powerful you as an individual really are. Now, that being said, I did go to vote. I didn't encounter any problems, so I didn't see any amount of fraud or anything like that. Um, but hey, there's my sticker that they gave me. Yay. But um but I think that I did double check to make sure that the candidate I voted for was the candidate I voted for. Now, it may not come as any surprise to anyone, but I did vote for Donald Trump this year. Normally, I vote more libertarian. Most of their beliefs are in line with my own, and I find, ideologically speaking, that I lean more that way than to any major political party because I really don't like either of them. Now, as I stated before, I was very disappointed in the candidates for the Libertarian Party, as I disagree vehemently. I just said that wrong. Vehemently with a lot of what Gary Johnson has said and also his flip flopping, as I said before. But what I really, it's basically, it comes down to feeling like you really only have two choices. Well, technically three, because you can always opt to not vote. But as I said, I think that while you don't have to, but I view it as a way to voice your opinion, even if you don't think it really amounts to anything. It's, as I said, principles. But as I said, I did vote for Trump. There were a number of reasons. The most common one that I give for not voting for Hillary is her attitude with Muammar Gaddafi and the Libya situation. She gave an interview, easy to find, so I'm not even going to bother posting it down below, where she basically told the interviewer that we came, we saw, he died. And I did not like how flippant she was with that. I mean, he was a world leader and he was on the world stage. And even if you did not like him or you disagree with everything the man stood for, um, he still was the head of state and was still, should have been afforded some respect. And if she gave a world leader that kind of treatment, what makes anyone think that she's going to care about, you, a common person, an everyday person going about your lives? She doesn't represent any of us, really. I mean, she represents her own interests, maybe perhaps that of her family, and, any of the people that she has in her corner. And other things that she has stood for, I disagree with. Now, this is not meant to be preachy. but I'm just stating how I feel about things and how I feel about her and about Donald Trump. And I will get to him in a minute. But I do not agree with what she stands for. On a lot of things, I'm still trying to figure out what she stands for. And the only thing that I can come up with is that she represents corporate interests and corporate greed and all that sort of stuff. I mean, and her treatment of other people, I think she's the true deplorable. And I think it's really, really sad that she would say, rather than giving concrete proof and evidence, she resorts to ad hominems to attack Donald Trump. Anyway, sorry, my phone fell. Anyway, I think that resorting to ad hominem attacks means that your argument basically you have very little to actually say, and means you don't really have a position of your own that's worth defending. Say what you want about Donald Trump, at least he knows where he stands. He's willing to stand for it, even if you disagree with it, and he digs in his heels. When you attack him with these emotional arguments, he knows who he is and he knows where he stands. That doesn't necessarily you have to agree with him, or like his approach to issues, because I know for me, I don't really like his approach, but I do respect him. I mean, not so much for the business stuff, but I do respect the fact that he's willing to state his ideas and stand by those ideas. And, while, you can make arguments about videos in the past and things that he's, things that he said. I mean, it's easy to say things when you've been a public figure and others use that as a weapon against you now. I mean, because let's face it, they're both public figures. She has been in the public eye for 30 plus years, and he's been in the public eye as well, but in totally different respects. He was more of a mogul, and she was a politician. So while, what he did as a private citizen have some weight in the election process, they don't have as much of a weight as what her thoughts are and what her decisions are. Because her decisions can actually do things that affect the lives of millions upon millions of people. So the things that she says and has said carry more weight, in a sense, because she has been in part of the political machinations of this country for so long. And I think that a lot of people feel that if she has been in this political machine for so long, then why hasn't there been any change that she's at least tried? I mean, I was a Ron Paul supporter, and while, I had a few things that I disagreed with him on, but say what you want about him, he was a very principled conservative, and he stood by what he said. And not only did he stand by what he said, compared to all these other politicians in Congress, he's about the most honest person that you would ever hope to come across, which is very, they're politicians, so it's kind of rare. But, when it comes to her, everyone knows that she's corrupt. Everyone. And while you can argue that Donald Trump is corrupt, which he is, and, I don't know the degree of corruption or whatever, but her corruption is much deeper, much darker, far more sinister, and there are far more, just implications of, what is coming down the pike if we have that. I mean, I'm not perfect myself, and I have skeletons in my closet, as I'm sure everyone does. But her skeletons can do more harm to our country than perhaps Donald Trump's. She's shown herself that she's corrupt and she's a liar. I mean, in the third presidential debate, she lied. She lied about so many things which were provable that they were a liar, which were provably false. Because all the things that were mentioned can easily be found. So, as I said, while I'm not the biggest supporter of Donald Trump and I don't agree with everything, I find him a lot more palatable than I do any of the other candidates that are there and that are on the up for president this year. And part of it is I like, and part of it has to do with the fact that I find him a tad more honest. And I actually believe that he believes what he's talking about and what he's saying. He believes it. It's honest. It's true. And, it's just, you can sense that frustration. And also, too, you have the mainstream media, which is hounding him and hounding him and hounding him about everything that, honest to God, means absolutely nothing. Or they're bringing up things that there's really no evidence to really support it. You're going by what people say, but I think that people aren't really buying it anymore. And even if the man loses, this country, as Nigel Farage said, is never going to be the same. I mean, how can it? You have millions upon millions of people that no longer trust our politicians, that do not trust our media, that do not believe that the powers that be actually have our best interests at heart. Because guess what? They don't. They don't. They look out for themselves. And it's up to us as American citizens to exercise our rights and to remember that, yes, we are in the land of the free, but we also have to fight. We have to fight every day for those freedoms. Just because, we sing the songs and, we respect the men and women in uniform, which I do 110%. We also have to fight. We also have to fight for what is ours here. It means being awake and being aware. And regardless of the outcome of this election, which I think is incredibly important, it's being aware and being a part of the process of being a citizen. I don't really do very much. I talk to people because I'm interested in ideas. I'm interested in what people say and what they think. And I believe the exchange of ideas is the most powerful thing that you can do. More powerful than aiming a gun at someone and trying to force them to make a decision. But, we are blessed as a country. But the problem is if we do not fight, if we truly treasure what we have, then we have to be responsible citizens who are aware. And, even if you disagree with me about my choice as for president, I stand by that choice. It was somewhat of an easy choice to make, but at the same time, it wasn't hard because he's not someone that I would normally vote for. But I did my research, and I find that he's as I said, much more palatable for me. And, that doesn't mean that just because I vote for him that my work is done and that I just, I view that that's it. That's all that has to be done. No, I view it as a start. I started to do this sort of channel because, for myself, not because of anything in particular, but just to get my thoughts and ideas out there. Because honestly, that's what we all are, our thoughts and our ideas. And even if you think that you are powerless, if you really and honestly believe that you're powerless, then you really are. But that is a decision for you to make. And as I said, even if my vote counts for very little, which it may or may not, I don't expect everyone to agree with that, nor do I believe that, that in the sanctity and the purity of our election processes, there's so many flaws. It's important as a citizen to be involved in a political way. And as I said, this is the start of something that I hope will grow, that I become more involved. And I'm going to be more involved, as I said before. So I guess you can kind of call this little YouTube series, my sort of political evolution, I guess. And, just finding my ideas and not necessarily finding my ideas, but finding my voice and to articulate them in a more coherent way as time goes on. But as I said, I voted and got a sticker. And I stand by that decision. But that decision is not the end all and be all of my involvement in politics or in my community. It is a way for me to air my voice, to make my decisions known, because the time for anonymity is over. And it is up to us as American citizens, and frankly as people born and living in this particular period of history, to be involved and to stand up for yourself, because guess what? At the end of the day, no one else will. Thank you guys. See you later. And love, peace, and hair grease.